What is good, guys? It's Rey-Jay back with another video, and in this one I want to break down what's happening to the SPY, Tesla, Nvidia, the QQQ, and a couple of other tickers. I'm also going to break down what's happening with the economic calendar as we have some data coming out in about 15 minutes, and all of this could affect the market moving forward. But before I break any devil's information, before I get into any more details, let me just mention a couple of things. I am personally not a financial planner, so take nothing I say as financial advice. And also, if you guys can, please check out the Webull link, which is down below and in the description. If you sign up for Webull and deposit $500, you're guaranteed 20 free stocks, and the offer ends very soon in just about a week. Anyways, guys, I just wanted to mention that at 11:30 a.m. Eastern Standard Time today, we have the 42-day bill auction and 52-week bill auction also coming out. So expect some volatility in about 15 minutes from now at 11:30 a.m. Eastern Standard Time. Also at 1 p.m., we might see some volatility. And then going into Wednesday, we have CPI and then the FOMC meeting all coming out. So that's going to be very important, at least for us moving forward. Right now, for the markets, we have a very, very interesting trend. I said in my earlier video that SPY may dip a bit towards this key EMA right over here around the 533 area. If that broke, our next support historically is 532.5. We came just a little bit below that, and then we got bought back up off 532. And SPY pumped all the way back up to just under 535. And now we're just kind of shuffling in this range. So what I think is going to happen for the remainder of the day is I think SPY is going to remain range bound. I think we have this resistance at 536. We have this key support where our EMA happens to be around the 533 area, and also the low of the day as two supports. If we lose the low of the day, I could be looking for a move all the way down to 530. But overall, I don't think it's going to dip that low just yet. I think we're going to see some shuffling in this range, at least for the time being. Now, there might be some more volatility with the bill auction coming out, but then we'll just have to wait and see how things develop from here. But for the most part, I do think SPY will just remain in this range. Now, whether we break this range will depend a lot on CPI and also the FOMC meeting. So just be prepared, and we'll have to see how the data looks. But for now, that's what I'm seeing, at least for SPY, range-bound price action. Looking at Tesla, it's not looking as great. So Tesla, if you look at the 4-hour time frame, I'm going to actually zoom out just a little bit more. You guys can see we have a nice head and shoulders on Tesla that ended up playing out. Now, I warned everyone if we lost 173, we could be tipping all the way down to fill this gap at a 168. If we had broken 180, we would turn bullish. And what happened? We lost 173, so the lower end of this range broke, and Tesla started to dip even more. So here's some important levels on Tesla. I'm going to zoom in more and just show you guys this right here. Tesla is now kind of shuffling between 170 as resistance and 168 as support, going back and forth, not really doing a whole lot. Also, we have 171 as our next resistance, and if that breaks, well, it's actually a very, very minor level. I wouldn't really count too much on that, but if we were to break through that, I'll be looking for 173 all over again. If we lose 168, we'll be dipping down to 165, then 162.5. But I don't really think Tesla's going to just crash unless we get more bad news. The reason why Tesla is dipping so hard is because we have some new news about a new lawsuit that's been announced as the DMV, at least in California. They were litigating against Tesla because of some claims about FSD. So that was a little bit more negative for them, and that's why Tesla's in this weakness channel right over here. So I would say that right now we're looking more weak. We're kind of in this range. I think it's going to remain range bound between 160 and 170 for most of the day, but there's still a risk of downside as Tesla is showing some weakness. For Nvidia, we're kind of shuffling, kind of dipping a little bit. We have this resistance around this 122.5 area to 123, and then we have support all the way down here around 119.7. That's where our 20 EMA happens to be. We actually dipped close to that only to bounce back up. So I think there's a risk of us dipping a little bit lower. If we lose the support, we'll be dipping all the way down towards the 118s. But I'm seeing some weakness, at least on Nvidia's charts. So there's a little bit of weakness right here, and there is a risk of us dipping even lower. So Nvidia is showing some weakness, just a little bit. It's not that horrible. It's not like it's crashed or anything, but I could see a retest of his 20 EMA so far. So I'll be watching this very, very carefully. The QQQ came all the way down towards about 462. That's where our 20 EMA just so happened to be. And then we actually rebounded a bit, hitting this resistance around 465. You guys can see how it's kind of trading within this range. Well, the thing is, our 20 EMA is going to be this key support. And we are still fighting some tough resistance up here where the all-time high happens to be, or very close to that range. So there could be a little retest of the 463.5 area. We could actually dip a little bit and just continue to shuffle. As of right now, the QQQ is stuck between 462 and 465 for about 4 straight days. It's been range bound. So that's what the range is for now. We're likely going to continue to remain this way and as time progresses. For Apple, we got some bullish news. We actually came all the way down to this below the 50 EMA only to break out. We came very close to about 204. So this is actually where the resistance is, not 205, 204. We'll have to see if we can break through this or not. If we fail to do so, we could be retesting 200. I'll be watching to see if Apple closes above 200. But just be careful, guys. Apple is a little bit, some people would say it's like overbought. That doesn't always work, at least if you use an RSI. But I just want to say that right now, Apple pumped really hard. Now it's kind of dipping a bit, and that's part of why the market rebounded. But we'll just have to see if that continues. For Supermicro, and by the way, for Apple, let me just mention one more thing. We have 204 as resistance and 205. We have support currently around 202.5 and then 200. Those are going to be your very, very important levels. I forgot to mention that. We'll see how well this holds up, at least for the time being. We're at a very, very key level as of right now. And then going back to Supermicro, all right, we also have resistance currently around 784 and then 800. We have supports all the way down here around, well, it's trying to hold 775, but we have stronger support down here around 762, so right about here. So we're in a very, very tight range right now on Supermicro. As you guys can see, for the last like week and a half, it's been range bound between 750 and 800, going back and forth and back and forth. So right now I'm seeing some weakness on the chart. It could actually dip a little bit lower. We could be looking for a retest of the 762 area. So I'm seeing some weakness on Supermicro, and it may continue to actually dip a little bit more. The only way to turn back to bullish is you have to break past 805, the 50 EMA. Haven't done so yet, so we are favoring bears just somewhat more. For Coinbase, we're trying to hold above the 50 EMA at 240. If we do so, we have a gap to fill up above. If we break 246, if we fail to do so, we could be dipping all the way down to 235. So I'm seeing some life in it as it's trying to hold, but it depends if we could hold 240 or not. If we do, we could bounce. If we fail to do so, we're going to reject. So watch that support. Amazon's kind of rejecting right here. It's currently, so I called the dip on Amazon 186. That's exactly what happened. This is previous resistance becoming support. If we bounce off this, Amazon can retest 188. If we fail to do so, we're coming all the way down to 184. So watch 186. Let's see if we can hold around that range or not. I'm seeing some weakness for now. Meta is showing some strength. On the other hand, there's a slight bearish divergence, but it doesn't matter much. If we hold above 500, we could be continuing to shuffle between 500 and 505. If we lose 500, we could be dipping back down to 492. So watch 500 to 505 as the range. And overall, we're still favoring bulls. For GME, is shuffling right now. There is potential for us to try to rebound. I think it could, if as long as we try to hold above the range we're in, and as long as we hold above 21, I could see a rebound in GME, at least to about 28. But to really be bullish, you want to see it break 29.5. If we break that, I think we could be pushing into the 30s again. So like 36, for example, is like a potential target. We have to see it break 29.5 to be bullish. Haven't done so yet. Same with AMC. If we break past 5, if we hold above 5, we just have to hold this close above this. Then it would turn a lot more bullish, and we can see a little bounce back up to at least 5.3. So we'll see if AMC and GME hold up. But for now, that is it for the video. So thank you all so much for listening. Have a great day, guys. I'll see you guys very soon on the next one. Thank you and peace out.